The reason I breathe.
Hello, people. I've got Barbara Yusuf Porter with me tonight, and you may have seen me interview Barbara before. She's been campaigning for a number of years after the death of her son, after the murder of her son, and so she's had a bit of a battle on her hands with Northumbria Police, let's say. Anyway, we've been friends for a little while now, and Barbara's daughter rang me up one Thursday a couple of weeks ago, to say that Barbara hadn't got to work. She was really worried about her. You know, she would not miss a day of work, and she'd set out that morning to go to work, called to get a sandwich. Well, actually, she didn't know what had happened to her at this point. She was really worried. She phoned the police, she phoned the hospitals, everything. Anyway, Barbara's daughter phoned me back a little while later to let me know that Barbara had gone into the sandwich shop as usual to get the sandwich before work. The woman in the shop wasn't being very nice, so Barbara left the shop, and on her way out of the shop to go to work, the police picked her up, took her to the hospital, and she was being kept at the hospital. So that was what your daughter was, that was the update on the Thursday. And then do you want to pick up on what happened when you went to work that day, Barbara?
Yep, I went into Coupland's Bakery in Blandford Street as normal to get my daily sandwich for work, for dinner. And because it was taking so long and being a bit strange, I left. And so I walked up to Park Lane. I thought I'd just get a sandwich at the paper shop on the Park Lane area. And the police car stopped with a blonde woman from the bakers following me up the road. I didn't understand why, because there's nothing wrong with me at all. So anyway, I was put in the police car and taken to Sunderland Hospital. And then I was taken to into some casualty, I think it was. And then I was put on this drip and this, and then I thought, well, there's nothing the matter with this. What they're doing this for? And finally taken upstairs. So anyway, when I was up there, I just took all the drip. I got sick of it. I just took all the drips out of my arm and left, went home. And then about 10:30, the police knocked on the door on the Thursday night.
How did you get, Barbara, how did you get home? Because that was quite a funny story.
All right, I left it down the road, and they're all running after us. And there was a taxi at the bottom of this road. I'm not sure what the road was called. So I hopped in it and said, go, 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 because the police are after us. He said, I'm not going to get stopped. I went, no, I've done nothing wrong. I just need to go to where I live, you know. And so he did. He dropped me off, I paid him, and then come in the house. And they were still looking gobsmacked up the road. But I was gone, you know.
And at 10 to 10 that night, you were on the phone to me, weren't you, Barbara, telling me what had happened?
Yeah.
And then you saw outside that you had visitors.
The police came, a man and woman. They're perfectly fine. These two were anyway, and just wanted to know that I was home all right. There was nothing the matter. And I said, no, I'm fine. And thank you very much for coming. And off they went. They didn't have any reason to stay there, you know.
They were getting a bit angsty because you weren't opening the door at first, or weren't they? They were.
At first they were. They were running around the house and all that, and Gemma said to the police, and she's petrified because she's been through enough, you know. Guys, Sharon and Katie are all carrying on. That's still with nothing but police force because that just won't go away. So I opened the door, and then when they saw it was me, and I said, I'm fine. They never wanted to take me away. They never wanted to, they didn't have any warrants with them or nothing like that. And off they went, quite happy that they'd seen us. So we went back in and we went to bed, you know, after I settled Gemma and the dog down. Anyway, in the next morning, on Friday the 6th, there was 2 ambulances out there, a police car, well, a police van, should I say, a man and a woman. But unbeknown to them, I had recorded them. And the woman...
This was very early in the morning, wasn't it, Barbara?
6 o'clock, something like that. And anyway, the blonde one, the woman, she said, "But don't open the door down. She's going to kick the door down." Well, I sent you that anyway. I put that out on my page, you know. So eventually opened the door, and he put his foot in the door, the big fella. And I know it wasn't that fella that had grief over the years, Neil Adamson, because he was uglier than him. The one that was at the front door. Anyway, so. I just said, just give me time to get dressed and all. And he said, hurry up. So I got my stuff together and finally got put in the police car. Well, sorry, in the ambulance, and they followed, taken to the hospital and put back on that wall.
can we take a step back a little bit,
Yeah, sorry.
Barbara, because you were very concerned about them being outside, weren't you? So you called a friend.
Yeah, I did. I
And
phoned my
they had some paperwork.
Yeah, but the paperwork's dodgy because I've got a copy. Anyways, I
Right.
normally
And
do.
I know Gemma had said to me when she phoned me back and said they'd forced you to go to the hospital first thing that morning. Police and ambulance had turned up, and that they'd had this form of B20 or something. She said it was saying that you had to. You weren't of sound mind. They wouldn't let you
That's
see
right.
the paperwork yourself, and then force you to go to the hospital.
Yes, but I have a copy of that, and unless I've had a copy of Operation Review, which Neil Adamson, the chief constable, put in there, that I've got mental health issues. That was when Lee was killed. That was done shortly after Lee was murdered by the police officers.
That was grief, wasn't it? That was grief. That was grief, not mental illness.
Yeah, well, they said that then that Neil Adamson put it together in this Operation Review, which I took off them, which is 121 pages long, and all it does is go on about saying about black this, black that, me dad, me, and whatever, and the fact that I've got white children. That's all that rubbish. And serious crime squad because I bought the grand bear and a teddy bear in John Lewis's, so that's down there, and that they actually told people where I lived, right down to the corner on the road and everything else, and that, and opposite this and opposite that. So that's what that Operation Review was about. The two judges involved, but one in London, one in Sunderland, I don't think they really paid much attention to that. And all the stuff I've got, that videotapes, audio tapes, which I took off the police station anyway, which if you listen to them all shows you how stupid they are, So this escapade on the Thursday till the Monday, the 9th, was just them being totally daft and just being racist again. And the fact that I won't go away and I won't give up fighting for what happened to Lee, but more importantly, what happened to my family since. And the married daughter, what they've done to her, them child snatchers united, and the behaviour towards us, who've kept very quiet and living in this house, never bothered anybody. So obviously they weren't going to go away. These two judges, Lindblom and Justice Collins, obviously encouraging this kind of behaviour. But I wasn't going to go anyway, and I still won't go away because I want a public apology from all of them. The two people in the hospital ward, I mean, most of the nurses were nice. I wasn't allowed to go down.
They wouldn't listen to you at all in the hospital, did they? And Gemma phoned me up because they kept you in all weekend, didn't they? And I think it was Monday you got out from Friday morning. And when Gemma phoned me, she said they were treating you like you were mentally ill. Like she was on the phone to you, and she could hear the nurse saying, "Oh, she's probably not even speaking to anybody," when you were talking to your daughter, and
that's right.
Telling you that being told that if you had to stay there because they said so, or the police said so. A doctor tried to come in and say that he was your GP, but you didn't know who he was. And it wasn't until you saw somebody that give you a clean bill of health and told you to go home, wasn't it, by the Monday? So do you want to talk a little bit about what it was like, how you felt on the Friday when they said you were staying and you couldn't do anything about it?
Well, they didn't show me any paperwork. I asked them about it. I asked her 4 questions, that nurse on there, Annalise, Sharon. And after the 4th question, I said, well, show me the paperwork where you've been to court to get me detained in this place. And she said, oh, later on. And the same as that doctor that was there, John Painter. I mean, he, when I asked him questions as well, like I always do with authority because they don't impress me. And those two should be ashamed of themselves. What it was like for me to be there. There was an old lady falling out of bed. They never bothered, or she never responded. They wouldn't even give the old girl a drink, So we had to go and get her a cup. And there was another young lass in there who I've kept in contact with, and another lady I've kept in contact with since I've come out. So, they knew that the derogatory remarks that were made against me. So they wanted me to go for this test on my head to see if I was nuts. So eventually I agreed to go. If it's going to get me home, then fair enough.
They wouldn't let you go until you'd had an MRI scan, would they?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. And then I had that, and then they still wouldn't let us go. So they come back and said they wanted me to have these electrolytes on my brain or something. I said, now listen, I've had enough of this racist nonsense, right? I am going home. I've just had enough of this stupidity. After you, so I had to sign this card thing on the Monday, the 9th of November, in the afternoon, for me to go home. So I signed it, and then my friend came and picked it up, and then off I went. But they didn't want me to. When I was in there, I couldn't go down to the shop on my own and wait. I think I was going to go, I had to go with somebody else.
You were going to run off. Scared you were going to run off.
Well, I mightn't have had my bags. Never mind. I thought, well, I'm going to go home probably this time, And most of the staff are lovely. You could talk to them intelligently. I was reading intelligent books, which they probably wouldn't have read them too. That nurse and the other one, that Dr. Painter. But
and that's the reason that you think that the police have done this, isn't it? They want to make you out to be mentally ill or not of sound mind, because you've got so much evidence, haven't you? You've been studying and researching and gathering evidence, and you do feel that there's been racial discrimination against you for a number of years, and you're still asking questions that they don't want to answer. So to take you off the street like that, I mean, you were helpless. What could you do about that? You get picked up off the street on your way to work by the police, detained in a hospital. You have to flee and then get carted off the next morning. On what grounds and on whose say so? I mean, how does that even happen? It's a warning to everybody, isn't it? That if you ruffle the council feathers or the police feathers, because let's face it, the police work for the council. They do the council's bidding. They're just council cops now. They're not law enforcement officers. So, what's your action now against what's happened to you? I mean, where are you taking it, Barbara?
Yeah, we're going to take this back to court again. We'll now have the prime people that are going to be the witnesses, that nurse Annalise and that Dr. John Painter.
Because you took your dictaphone with you, didn't you? Sorry, Barbara, you took your dictaphone in hospital with you, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I kept them and all. Yeah, I always carry that with me because wherever I go, you never know when I'm going to need it. But I believe this has been planned because I've been having to go at the child snatchers for ages, which I will not stop doing that. What happened, Barbara, when you phoned up the Labour Council leader in Sunderland about that? What did he say to you? Do you want to that man with a Scottish fella? He denied any dealing, that Mr. Miller. He had denied any dealings with the police. So I don't know whether it's because he knows the police have had paedophiles in the force, and I know someone who's gone to prison for it. Or he's just totally lying. I believe he's totally lying because he
said, didn't he, that when you asked him about why is all these children being taken from good families when there's family that can take them in, he said that. What did he say? That the children's services is they buy that, they're a company, a limited company. They buy them in. It's not part of their council.
That's right. That's what he said. It had nothing to do with them. Was what these child snatchers were doing. So we don't know if these child snatchers, especially the ones I've seen, are involved in that kind of paedophilia. For all we know, we haven't had any clarification that they're being checked out. We don't know anything about these people. And apparently it's easy to get a job if you want to be a child snatcher as long as you can take people's kids off them, So it's kind of like in America when all that stuff happened with that judge and she was doing that, and she got wrong. Eventually she got caught out taking people's children, even newborn ones, never giving the families chance. But in this case, these children are all different ages and they're just going any family they want. Let's pick on somebody that we think has got mental health issues or they're not clean or whatever, or they haven't got much money, they're not working. Let's go down that route. When really we are going down their route. We want to know about these people's backgrounds. We just don't want to turn up in people's homes and the judges and as well, I mean, where do they get off, going around?
Well, this is the thing. Together for Children can be found on Company House if anybody wants to check it out and look who's involved, who are the employees and who's running the show. I guess if people want to do their own research, it's interesting that they got a terrible Ofsted in 2016 and therefore bought in children's services, and they're still getting a terrible Ofsted. So what's changed, and what are the taxpayers paying for, and why, like yourself, you're being denied your grandchildren. So
they were concerned.
It's not just that.
Sorry.
It's not just the issue with the police over Lee's death. It's also your grandchildren, isn't it? And the
Again, I've got the reports of these child snatchers. If they don't know I've got them, I definitely have got your reports, and I definitely know who wrote them, all signed, and I've got them. And if you don't like it, tough. Other people should be entitled to these reports. They should be made public to people, and not just me, and able to take them off them. And, you know, so obviously they're scared. But what they did in my report, the one about my father, what's got to do with them, you know? At least I've got a dad. I don't know what them lot like, you know. But you know, and about my children, grandchildren being white, why is that an issue to them? You know, they're children, you know, and they don't deserve. And one of mine was actually hurt off this family, foster family. I've never actually met them, but I know that she hurt them, and there was nothing done about that. So, you know, how much are they paying these people for to hurt other people's children? You know, but I do know that they've met the match with me, because I will help everybody out there that's had their children detained for no reason at all, just this so they can get money off the government. And the government needs to look at this. If the Labour Party won't look at it, then, you know, other people should get involved, and other members of the government should look at how bad it is in Sunderland and South Shields, Gateshead, Newcastle, for all these
I think
people.
it's everywhere. Yeah, it's nationwide, Barbara. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere, but particularly up here, we're concerned about the amount of things that they're doing to people, you know. And these people are not qualified. They'll take anybody on if they're desperate for a job. And I suppose some people might be, but it's unlawful what they're doing. It's not right what they're doing, just so they can get, you know, up there and
quota.
Pardon?
So they can get their quota in for Ofsted, because Ofsted set a figure of how many children should be in the care system. And then you see it's all floated on the stock market, and you know, I say it all the time, it's all about the money, isn't it, at the end of the day? Yeah. And half of these people that work in these authorities are on a power trip, and they don't care about the long-term consequences for those children. And you know, the police don't seem to care about upholding the law either. They do the bidding of the council. They must all get kickbacks, they'll all be part of the same club or something. But it just leaves us in a position, doesn't it, Barbara, where people like you can get picked off the street, and you know, luckily with your strength of mind that you'll take them on. You know, you'll stand your ground and take them on. But somebody who isn't, you know, as fiery and as feisty and as strong as you are, then it's terrible what they seem to be able to just do. I mean, why was the hospital keeping you there for no good reason?
Well, that's what we wanted to know. That's what asking the question, you know. And the bed was filthy, you know. It was horrible, and it was scruffy on the floor. No, and I said that when that painter fella was there. He actually sent me a letter out saying all I had was a slight infection. That was it. No, nothing about mental health issues. Nothing about any psychiatrist from there, you know, from any other wing, you know. But that's what they were thinking they were going to do, because on the 6th day they could have kept us there for the COVID thing, you know, and try that one on. So I was well ahead of what they were up to, you know, and they knew that, you know.
Yeah.
I stepped out the door with my bags. The nurse said, "Can I help?" And I went, "No, it's all right." But there was nothing wrong with me. And all my friends in the big world around Sunderland, the shops, couldn't believe, the businesses, what happened to me, because they've known me for years and know how I am. And there was nothing, even I've been to see the doctor since for me, blood check for me diabetes, and there was nothing. And she said, the lady said, the nurse there, "Why did they keep you there?" So I heaven knows, you know. But I didn't want to join their brothel that they've got running. I didn't want to be a paedophile like them. And if they wanted a copy of my Ben Coppers hat, well, I'd get them on if that's what they wanted. And then t-shirts I've got with Ben Coppers on, they can have one of them and all, but they're bigger than these, so they'd have to get a bigger size for the way they are. And as for that woman that come to the door, she had no business coming there. She frightened the life out of my daughter. She's still nervous. Even my little dog, it was a quiet house. Yeah, he's had a few issues, you know, all that carrying on going on. He's not used to it. And but what they've pushed the boat out, that chief constable. If he's got something to say, come and see me myself. Don't send idiots to the door. Him and I can have a one-to-one. And as for that woman, the child snatchers lost that woman. I've seen the big blonde one. She wouldn't answer any questions I asked her when I went to Bunny Hill. She'd just turn around and I said, "I'm recording this." And she said, "Well, if you're recording it, I'm gone." She was up the stairs. As the stairs were creaking, you know, I left, you know, with her weight and that, you know. But she didn't have any... they're not intelligent, these people, you know. when you start asking them intelligent questions, they just don't know how to answer. So these judges
Yeah.
involved, these child snatchers, the judges involved, that Lindblom and Collins involved in what they've done to me. If this is the kind of support, even though Lindblom's sent me emails, then, you know, why is he lying to me, you know? And the cops sent me an email saying they had Lee's stuff and Stephen Preston were going to bring it. And I'm still waiting for it. That was over 2 years ago. So these people know how to lie. Come and join the police force and be an idiot. So that's what they're looking for. Or if you any you know problems in your life where you've got murderers in your family, you can have a job, you know. Or if you don't want to be pedophile, you can have a job, you know.
Or if you're a narcissist.
Pardon?
A narcissist.
I know. I've got a good book about that. Actually, I've just bought one. Initially, it was going to be £300, but I got it for 40 quid. And it tells you all about people like them, you know. It's really, really good. It's American, but it just tells the cases and that now these people behave like that as well. So it's a good book. It's a good one that's just come out recently. I managed to get my hands on it, and it explains about these people. So they get a job and then they start getting up themselves because they've got no hope for them, and that's why they go in these places, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, you've been educating yourself, haven't you, Barbara? You've been looking at the law and everything else. You go well armed, don't you, with knowledge of you know, that this is why they're getting so frustrated with you, isn't it? Because you keep getting one step ahead of them. You don't mind putting it out there. You're not afraid to speak out. They can't threaten you. You don't take their threat.
I was always brought up to tell the truth, you know, and if people don't like it, that's their problem, you know, and what's wrong with being honest about things, and if they can't handle it. And then obviously I've got that Operation Review. If anybody wants to have a copy, I put it on sale for £1, and the police weren't very happy about that on the Facebook, you know, and that, and it's got there Northumberland Police Force, the IPCC, and it's got all the names of these cops who go back a long time, and you know, and so I can name them all, but I won't because it's there, you know. But I'm not scared of naming them. I do put them out on Facebook when I go through each page. But what I am concerned about the most, the ambulance people turned at my door on March the 2nd, Thursday, 2006, when Lee was stabbed to death. They didn't take Lee to hospital. So they got the manpower. They left him in the street all night. And there was no lividity on Lee when I saw him. Excuse me. There was no lividity on Lee when I saw him in the chap the rest. The one that took her to the hospital was that Stephen Mitchell, the rapist one, to buy flowers for Lee on Bolden Lane. He took Lee's phone, and we never got his phone back to this day. Somebody in London had it when I rang it. So all these people do these things, right? The ambulance people have sent me letters. I've got copies of everything from them saying that the police chased the ambulance people away and they wouldn't let them work on Lee.
Really?
So the ambulance people come here for a non-emergency to take me away, a black woman who knows what they're talking about, who is a threat to Northumberland Police Force. How dare they? And then the police.
And didn't they? What would they serve you with to keep you there at 4 o'clock on the Friday? Deprivation of freedom order or something, wasn't it?
Yeah. But I mean, under what they have done to me, right? I've got a good case against them, and they know it. And because I won't go away, no matter what they do. I mean, what they're going to do next? Ask me to go for a sunbed? Oh, no, that's how stupid they are, you know. But to go on about people where they're born and to tell people I was Indian in that report, which I'm not Indian.
No.
I'm half caste Somali and a white mother. And to tell people all these things and put it down in writing, and that's on my criminal file. I'm an Indian. That's a crime and all, apparently, you know. So I paid for a copy of all that, and they give it to me, and they don't even think. They just put these stupid things on, so I just quite laugh at it, you know. So if anybody goes to John Lewis's and you're black and buy a teddy bear, you're a terrorist. And they send it to the Serious Crime Squad like they did with me. That's what they've done. I've got a copy of it all.
It's beyond a joke, Barbara, isn't it?
It's a joke because I told them I'll come and see them. I'll pay a visit. I'll come up there and see. So they send it in a week and they send it all out, you know. But the pathologist the same. I mean, when they put Lee's body parts on the front doorstep in a box, in a white box with Lee David Phipps on it, and left it 4:30, the day before Lee's birthday, was the 16th of October. Sorry about that. It's dry. When we took the box in the house, Kelly came over, and my daughter, and she was really upset about it. So was Gemma. So we phoned the papers, and they came and took pictures of it. and then put it in the news and that, you know. But the thing is, the police work with these people. There's only one or two I've met that are genuine, you know, over the years, Sharon.
Yeah.
And really good about things, and then they know something's funny going on. So the coroner, the pathologist, he didn't have an Annex C form signed off me, his next of kin, to do what they did to Lee by taking body parts out of him. So again, on March the that was when he was killed on March the 2nd. They did that. So on January 2009, had to bury Lee again.
Yeah.
Because I had to get the money together for another funeral. And so that was done. And there was nothing from the police or the coroner to apologise, nothing like that. The coroner, Terence Carney, we went to see him with a colleague, and we recorded it all. And when we started asking him questions, we got to question 9 about the Annex C form. He went, "Do you know who I am?" I said, "You're a twit." So I said, "You know, we want you to be honest, not lying to me, you know." And then we had to leave after that. We went back to the hospital to ask him where Lee was, why they took him there, and why was it, you know, Sunderland Hospital involved in Lee's death.
Yeah.
You know, the post-mortem and all that, you know. So again, we went down to the police station, me and my daughter Kelly, to get Lee's things. And it was that Mark Costello that came up, the killer's uncle, and said to Kelly, he says, "Come here, Kelly, in the firehouse." She's the police station. "I've got something to tell you about your mum." And Kelly said, well, I won't repeat what she said, but she said, "Enough to defend us, you know." So then we went to see Yusuf Abdullah in the morning. He came down to the police station about getting these things. But during the early days, my ex-husband, he got to see everything. We got to see nothing. And he put things in there, stupid things in that operation review. And it was again about the children being, when they were little, they were very, very blonde like my mum. It was just stupid remarks like that and what he had to say. But nothing about the violence that he did to us, to me and the children, nothing like that. But lucky enough, I had a copy from the army what he did to her. So I've still got that, you know, in my medical report. But all they were worried about and concerned about is that they wanted me to be taught a lesson, and that's why they took Lee out. It was planned and premeditated by Northumbria Police Force and Mark Costello, Neil Adamson, and the rest of them involved in that report. You know?
Yeah.
They got it out very quickly, Sharon, shortly after Lee was killed, before I even buried him. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you've just been campaigning since then, haven't you, to get justice, really? And you want an apology, and you know, like you say, they've still got belongings that they said you can have and they've not given you, and it's just ongoing, isn't it?
They said they weren't investigating the murder, they were investigating the theft of Lee's camera, which was bought by him and by me on my card, my bank card, and his bag was bought by me on the bank card as well, you know. But they still said it was theft, and that was the most important thing in that report that they were saying. And all these civilians put their names to it as well, that they weren't investigating the murder of Lee. It was, again, the theft of a camera. That was important to Northumbria Police Force. But when you look at anybody else that's lost a child and they're not black, they don't get treated like that. So it's just me, Stephen Lawrence, and Christopher Alder. They mentioned Christopher Alder as well. And Janet, I've been friends with Janet for a long time, and she campaigned a lot for her brother, the way he was treated, you know. He was killed in Humberside, and we all know about Stephen Lawrence, what happened to him, you know, and that family. But anybody else that's non-black doesn't put up with this nonsense. It's just black people. So
sorry, I was going to say, we've had a few conversations as well about the support that you get around Sunderland area, that the places that you're supposed to be able to go to get the support, and you know, things like Black Lives Matter and organisations around the area. I mean, you found as well that it's all lip service, isn't it? You're not getting anywhere with anybody.
That's why I'm out there for, you know. So the Chief Constable won't take his face for a walk wherever he wants to, because, you know, I just definitely want a public apology from him at the monument or Park Lane, and not his office, not the one in Wallsend. Sunderland will do. If he doesn't want to if he hasn't got the bus fare, you know, we'll just deal with it there. Walk from that little police station in the town centre to the Park Lane, and then he can do it there. And it'll be publicly recorded as well when he does. So why does he want to use these kids that work for him to come around and terrorise me? what's the next thing they're going to do? Are they going to do pinch me washing off the line? Well, they'll have to come back to something like that, like, you know. And these people, you know, they call me and they go on sunbeds.
Yeah.
And I've
Yeah,
been
because
told,
you didn't you go to a demo a little while ago, and there was a guy and he was wanting to speak and they wouldn't let him speak, and
that's right, that was Black Lives Matter one. Things that happened to him. This is why I'm ever so much stronger, because a lot of people out there who are not getting heard.
yeah.
But you keep
And you put yourself out there, don't you, Barbara, to help anybody out that comes to you if they need a bit of advice, or they've got to face court and things like that. You try to help out where you can.
Yes, I will. Yeah, I will all the time. I'll never go away. But I like to see the judge's faces when I turn in multicolour hair. And I just tell him, it's 200 years since I've had to wear these white wigs. The popular thing is they have to be multicoloured like me.
Yeah.
Make people smile. You know, they're just mints
So
on.
are you gonna be taking anybody to court for taking legal action against what's happened about the hospital scenario then, Barbara? Are you gonna?
If I've got to do it myself, you know, obviously it's very hard around the area because they're all in bed with each other.
Yeah.
I've had threats and had to take off by one firm of lawyers to take off the stuff up on Facebook, and I said, nope, not happening. But it's quite evident that these people are in each other's pockets, and they just don't care about people's human rights. So we have to break that and get justice for all those people out there, including myself, you know, because the people I've met who think they're important, they're not important. They're a waste of space, you know. They haven't got a clue. They haven't got an ounce of brain cell between them. So when they're looking at black people's brains, they need to go and have a look at their own. More importantly, look in the mirror and see how ugly they are inside, you know.
Do you what would help you out then to take that forward, Barbara? Do you need some kind of, if there's anybody out there that's kind of interested in what's happened to you and thinks they can help out in any way, legally or you know, advised, or even finding out what the paperwork was that they used to detain you, you know, would that be helpful if anybody's out there could get in touch with
everybody
the matter?
Legally minded and, you know, won't be threatened, because I have had people try to help me and they've been warned off. And even so, one friend of mine, Katie Shields, a couple of times went to scene where Lee was, you know, what happened. And the police, they were videoing him. So he videoed phoned the police station and he'd videoed them, and the police station, Shields said, no, it's not. And he said, well, yeah, I'll send you a copy of the video. So this person was videoing them, so they threaten people. It's quite obvious, you know. So at the end of the day, you know, it is going to be tough. There's no doubt about it. But we will break them down. We will, you know, make them behave themselves and return them children taken.
The way you were treated and just taken off the street like that, I mean, that if they're going to start doing that to people and detaining them, and fortunately, you know, your daughter was at home, so she knew when she couldn't get in touch with you, she knew that when you hadn't got to work, because work were worried about you. But it is worrying that they seem to have the power to do that. So I think if you taking that forward could be quite helpful to anybody else that finds themselves in that position, really. So if there is anybody out there, Katie-Jayne will put the contact details up for anybody to get in touch and maybe offer you some support.
That's not scared. I understand that people might be for their families, how bad the people are, but, you know, I'm there, and every time that happens, we'll pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and get on with it. But like I said, what are they going to do next to me, you know? I've been told I might have to bury Lee for the third time, as they've used Christopher Auld on that report. Anybody can look up that report and see what happened to that poor girl, you know. They followed her around on Humberside and give her grief. But you see, with me, I turn the tables on when I follow them, and they run away. So that, you know, they just can't handle this, you know.
Well, you went to the Katie-Jayne organised the remembrance demo, and you went to the one in Sunderland, didn't you, to remember lost ones, loved ones, and you went to remember Lee with a few other people, and the police followed you home that day, didn't they? You had to tackle them and ask why they were following you.
They still do it, you know, even now after that carry on with the hospital thing and that, and at the bus stop they'll stand and stay. It's the same one with glasses on. And so I just look at them and they go away. But normally I would video it on my phone. But I've got my dictaphone, so I just do that anyway, and it's then say to them. But that little shop in Sunderland, the police station shop, told me not to come back anymore because I went on two different.
What about the shop that you went in? Have you spoken to the lady out of the shop since that happened?
I haven't been back. I did phone their headquarters and asked them why this happened. What's it got to do with them, Was it because I didn't buy me sandwich? Was it so serious because I didn't buy a sandwich and left that they decided to phone the police? So I've had no response from them. So I'm going to be on to them again and all, And then obviously nothing from the hospital. They sent us a form out to fill in, but I'm about to send them an email. I've tried to speak to the head person, the doctor there, to let him know, what actually happened. And they're trying to fob you off, Sharon, say, but I won't do that. I'm not going to go through their protocol, their rules and regulations, because it was quite dangerous to take somebody off the street and do what they want. And just because they're in bed with the chief constable, well, that's their problem. It's not to do with me.
Not only that, Barbara, but you came out of hospital with a black eye, didn't you?
I did, yes. So somewhere I was punched by one of them, attacked by one of them, probably the police, that's done it, the way they were talking to us, and that nurse, that Annalise one, I mean, she was full of herself, and so was that painter fella. So, I got that black eye from one of them. It didn't for me. Nobody hits me at home. Nobody hits me at work. Work was concerned about where I was as well, because I've never done that before. But like I say, I mean, if they've done that and the chief constable's encouraged it, then he needs to be questioned about his behaviour.
Yeah.
Just because the person's asking whether they're black or white, asking for, information that's relevant to you and to your family, but instead of owning up to responsibilities, adding on the pressure, thinking she'll go away if we do this and do that. Well, no, I'm not going to go away. And if there's anybody out there, like Sharon said, that's prepared to take this case on, everything I've got is honest. Everything that I've got belonged to them, I took off them, is honest. And everything that I said about the police, and they told us not to go back anymore. And the complaint, the biggest one is because I've got T-shirts with Ben Coppers on, support the police and beat yourself up, and the baseball cap with Ben Coppers on. And, join the police force and become a paedophile. That's what I've got on my T-shirts. And I walk around Sunderland or South Shields or Newcastle, and I'm not bothered, because at the end of the day, there's so much proof out there about what they do, and it's got to stop.
Yeah,
it has.
They definitely take their orders from the council, don't
Pardon?
they? They definitely take their orders from the council.
They're taking the laws for the council. They don't care about people out there. They don't care about the families they've hurt. I've met a lot of families that have had trouble with that, the child snatchers. They're lovely people. There's no reason, nobody goes on behind closed doors, but I'm a good judge of character, and the people I've met, that's all wrong what they're saying. Because the idiots I've met from the child snatchers lot, they just don't have a clue. They just go with the police. I mean, they said to my family member, to my daughter, because they had Lego bricks on the floor in our home, it's filthy. I'm a family of 5 and ours was never dirty. And when I'm a family of 11, and our house was immaculate, but we didn't have liars and toe rags and, paedophiles in the family. We just had totally honest upbringing. And I was always told to tell the truth, and I will tell the truth. And if they don't like it, I did the same in the court in London. I wasn't bothered. And he might have, been taken aback, as never happened before. A little black woman from South Shields or Sunderland, whatever, telling him what's right and what's wrong, and the law back to him. They just don't like it. So if I can help anybody, I will. But I won't.
And if anybody can help you, Barbara, hopefully they'll get in touch.
Yeah.
And the paperwork that they use, I haven't seen your paperwork yet, but the paperwork that they used on the Friday, they said it was a B20 or something, didn't they? And I'd never heard of it, and nobody, Gemma had, your daughter had tried to find out from a solicitor, had never heard of it. And did you find anything more out about what that actually was, or is it something new?
It's something that was printed out from the police station, just like the forms I about Lee. The things I had about them, and it's the same kind of texture paperwork. It's been printed out by the police station and given to that Annalise woman. She's used it, to do that, even though she didn't know me. There's no medical report there about me being mad. There is an operation review, but that was a murder inquiry. So is this Annalise involved in Lee's murder? What's she got to do with it? And this John Painter, what's he got to do with it? Because obviously everything that it says on that form is a load of rubbish. But then if they're saying that I'm nuts, which one of them judges has said that? Is it Lindblom? I'll have to pay him a visit again, and he'll probably leave the country if I come back to London again. And then the other one, Justice Collins. I mean, what's wrong with these people? Are they involved so much hatred of the mankind, whatever colour we are, then they shouldn't be in them jobs. End of. And these judges, all these families have took the children from 100% apologies and the children back. And that's my aim, to help those people as much as I can, irrelevant of what they want to say about it. They say what they like, I'm not bothered. But then remember, cops, I'll get the information off you anyway, so it doesn't really matter, And because you shouldn't be doing these things to me, persecuting my family, carrying on 14 years after Lee's murder, 12 years after he put his box back on and his body parts on the doorstep on my front door, which is true, having to have another funeral, open the grave again and put a corner to the corner, not open the big coffin, and put his small coffin on top of the one, and then having to pay all that money out again. It's not about the money, it's about what you've done, the principles. And that Mark Costello saying to my daughter about me, well, what about me? I mean, he's a proper little tour rag. He used to pass my house on King George Road where I lived and go to the killer's house. And that night when I was looking for Lee, them three come back off Whiteley's field and said to me, I wonder if she knows yet. Lee was not in the hospital. He was left there in the snow. I got Kelly and her husband to go down and find him. And she said Mark Costello came, and he came to my house, and I chased him. And then 2 policemen came that night and said that the description of Lee sounds like him. But definitely when I saw Lee in the chapel arrest, there's no lividity on him. So what on earth was going on with the police, the hospitals, and what they did to Lee? That's what I have to find out. And now that fact I've been told I have to possibly bury him a 3rd time, what on earth is this police force doing? So I've got to
and you truly believe, don't you, Barbara, that this is the reason they've taken you off the street and put you in the hospital? Because if they can prove that you're mentally unstable, then any evidence that you've got, they'll just discredit. And I think that I think you must be getting too close to the bone with them. But really, all they're doing is giving you more to build a case against them for, aren't they? Police. I mean, to be following you around and staring at you, and that's intimidation, and it's an abuse of power. And so, we need as many brave people, as you say, out there that aren't afraid to stand up for what's right, because sooner or later we've got to start getting some justice in this country, because there seems to be a great lack of it, and particularly where families are involved. It's just crazy. I couldn't actually believe it when Gemma was saying that that's what had happened. It was like, how can they just do that to somebody, on the way to work?
Because it would have gone off that report, right? Even though they say they didn't write it, yet he signed it. And Ernie Brentle signed it from the IPCC. And I mean, we had many meetings with them in Sunderland with other colleagues from communities, people, and they came and looked at it all. In fact, the day of Lee's trial, the trial for that Scott Nichols, there was 3 of them. It was David McDougall and Carl Green, and they even went to sell Lee's coat with blood on for £10 down King George Road. Can you believe it? They took it off him. And the neighbour down King George Road, she told me they'd been there, Carl Green, to with the coat, with Lee's coat kind of thing, and would £10 for it. She told the police, this lady, and the police wouldn't listen.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the comments.
Pardon?
I'm just flicking through the comments. I am listening to you, Barbara, but carry on, sorry.
They went to all the neighbours round about, all the ones that called that word, N-word, and wrote on my patio doors, all that stuff. And the killers wrote their name on my wall. I've got printouts on the wall. And nothing was done about it. That was before Lee was killed. And they said she's just made it all up.
Well, Stu Ward's put on the comments, Barbara, that the Constitution and tort law may help. His brother had great success with this and billing judges. Bills are for orders. This works. He's put need to bring them back to the law by suing the individual constables and social services or SS. They no longer use the Constitution, but must be held to it. Yeah. So you've been studying a little bit of law yourself, Barbara, haven't you? Just to
well, over the years, I started in 1983, which makes me feel old, doesn't it? But I'm not. And when the children were little, I decided to go and do some courses like law, the LLB, psychology, forensic science, which I've done a few years back, and done that twice and qualified enough to do that, and all philosophy and all that kind of thing. And then I'm still reading on the law on all these books that come out with everything changing. So yeah, I have been in a study as much as I can, obviously got to go to work and all that, but I want to know, and I know more than the coppers do. And I'm not bent and I'm not corrupt. I'm just an honest person. And obviously, I have to make a film about this as well. There has to be a documentary come out about this. I have to do it. And I'll try and do that, Sharon?
Yeah.
Because it has to be out
definitely.
there. I mean, because we're in the northeast, we're ignored in London, all that stuff on about Stephen Lawrence, and we have to be strong as that up here to get our strength in numbers. And like I say, there's a lot of black people here from different parts of the world, and they shouldn't be ashamed of that they're here. But the way some get tracked, there's no racial equality in Sunderland or in the northeast anyway, because everybody that's involved in that kind of thing, they're all like, handshakes kind of thing, and that. But I know you kids out there, and they've helped me a lot.
Yeah.
And some people find it hard to believe what you're saying, but it's true.
Yeah. Because
Definitely.
what I was making reference to earlier with the Black Lives Matter that you went to, you were telling me, weren't you, that you went there to support your community and just found that the police were being awful. There was guys that had something valid to say for your, for his community, and they weren't allowed to speak. It was all orchestrated, wasn't it, by a certain group? It was controlled kind of demonstrating, wasn't it? It wasn't what you thought it was going to be. And so you've been looking for these community groups that are supposed to be there to help you, that don't actually exist, or the ones that have been helpful get finished or closed down. And it's a very, it's all smoke and mirrors, really, isn't it, to the support for yourself? That's why you've been fighting so hard.
The Black Lives That Matter is not for us. It's not fighting for the people in the northeast. It's only about that poor lad that died in America. Fair enough, I understand that, but then all lives matter. It's not just black. All lives matter. We all belong as a big family, and so all lives matter. But the minute you become a pain in the butt to them, sorry for swearing, they don't like it, But I mean, I'll leave no stone unturned. And as for that blonde coming to my house on the Friday and terrorized us and saying she's going to kick the door down, I mean, what size shoe does she take, like? Do you know what I mean? And it must be better looking than her face was anyway, for what I saw of it, But I mean, I'm a that doesn't drink, doesn't smoke.
I know you've recapped on what happened to Lee. I know there was a comment saying just to recap on what had happened to Lee to get you out on the street in the first place, and you have done. But the for anybody that didn't get that, it's a member of the police in Northumbria was related to the guys that were being racially abusive to you and your son, your family, in the street, in your street, and you believe that when they murdered him, he was stabbed, wasn't he? That the police delayed the ambulance getting there and everything else to cover up because they knew who'd done it.
Yeah, and there was a witness. There was a witness there who was allowed to go on holiday, according to the paperwork I've got, and the police poo-pooed it and they let her go on holiday. But I found that witness myself, and also I'm glad I did forensic science because I went down there the following week to count the spots the police had put there, and there was 90 odd spots. So Lee walked from where he was stabbed. His camera bag snapped with a knife, and Lee obviously got a shock and ended up on the doorstep. But according to the ambulance report, he was never certified dead. The one I've
Right.
got from of these 3 ambulance people. But then, because we mentioned that, Scott Nichols, Carl Green, and David McDougall, who I've seen David McDougall since the incident, he's told me to get out of Shields. On the bus, he was high as a kite. When I've come back to Sunderland from Shields, where I was born, and one told him that Mark Costello was related to them, and we had proof. They let him stay on the case for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't go away. They wouldn't take him off. And then we got a report that I got off them saying, yes, he was related to them. And yes, he held his hands up. So we asked them the question, why was he allowed to stay there? Because evidence went missing.
Yeah.
You know, vital part of it. He was there. He came to our house that Thursday night. I chased him. I said, get, I know who you are, Skip Rat, get away from my door. You know, and don't you dare come back here again. Because he passed my house down to go to his family 3 doors up from me. And half the time he'd be cut anyway, you know. But at the end of the day, you know, if nothing the police force had done the job right on the early days, instead of allowing all that carry on to go on with people related to them or friendly with them or whatever, or giving them blue drives and paying them, and even doing it when I'm up here in Sunderland, when I moved away from them, and put that report together. But did they think I'm stupid? I wouldn't get to things, because I will. You know, and I'm proud that I'm banned from the police station. I'm proud that they're scared of us, and they want to be, because they took my child away. And how many of the people have done that too? You know, a lot of people are disturbed, a lot of people that are upset, you know, and particularly the child snatchers, you know. But any other person that's lost a child, that's non-black, doesn't go through the stuff that we've gone through. And read in the newspapers about the terrible tragedies these people have lost their child to, they haven't had to go through anything that I've had to go through. You know,
particularly because the you know, the guilty party will relate it to a member of the police force. I mean, that's, you know, that in itself, you know, he should never have been on the case, should he?
No, it was you know, it was wrong. It was a conflict of interest. He shouldn't have been there. Knowing that he was racist anyway. And then when a friend of Stephen Lawrence's lawyers came down, one of the top ones that was there with the Lawrence family, on that morning of the trial, they wanted to know who he was. They separated my family, and they separated my other son, and they kept the white side of the family there, and the black side of the family was with me.
Yeah.
So they divided the family, the police, at that point of time. And you know, and all they did was put that report together before Lee was in the ground.
Yeah.
Which is bad. You know, and my criminal record, which I sent off for, I mean, there's no in there, the fact that I think I'm an Indian. That's, I have to be cherished because I'm an Indian. I'm not an Indian. And because I bought the bear and the teddy bear. That was, I've got a copy of it all. And I paid the £10.
And now they're trying to give you MRI scans to prove you're crazy.
Well, I'd be crazy if I married one of them.
Well, can I just say publicly that Barbara will not be taking her own life at any time. So if she goes missing, we're all looking for her, because, you know, if they can take you off the street like that, Barbara, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're not just going to go missing of your own accord, is what I'm trying to say.
No, I won't go missing on my own accord. I've got my family here. I've got my daughter and we got my dog. And I'm not going to go away. There's nothing wrong with me. Even my own family doctor couldn't believe it. What happened. And the people I've known for years and years and years don't believe a word of what they had to say anyway, because they know I'm tough. But what we need to do is get a community out there involved with me to stand up to these bullies in the police force, to stand these bullies in the solicitors department and the council, both South Shields and Sunderland and Gateshead and Newcastle, to make sure
and so you're standing for council next year, Barbara?
I am, yes.
Good for you. Good for you. You know, we need to encourage as many people out there to stand in their own councils and work on them like they have been in Sunderland, because they're imploding up there, aren't they? With all the corruption being exposed, and you know, you're finding out who's got the secret handshakes and the you know, kickbacks.
Well, it has to be done, Sharon, because There's so many people tragically suffering right now. But let me say, these police officers involved in this handshake, these judges involved in the handshake, these solicitors involved in this handshake, let me come and interview you. Let me make a film of it and make you famous. You want to be famous? I'll do that for you.
Yeah.
You know? And so, you know, it has to be done. And not go around stabbing people just because you think, I mean, where's your qualifications? Are you a psychiatrist? I don't think so. You need to be looking at yourself before you start looking at other people, you know, and you stop taking people's children away. Return my grandchildren. People do have issues and I like problems, and but I mean, the ones I've heard and the reports I've got from the child snatchers, which is, by the way, all the stuff I've got is away safe.
Well, a lot of these families just need a bit of right support, don't they, Barbara? They don't need the children taken away. They just need a bit of help and a bit of support and a bit of guidance in most cases. And there's a lot of good people up in the north at the moment. We've got a few groups set up. Brian Clare's been working for years on exposing all the abuse in the care homes and everything else. So yeah, I think the Northeast has got a few good people up there that are fighting good causes, and you're one of them, Barbara. So it's been great speaking to you as always. And we'll be in touch very soon. So we're going to just close up now. So anybody that wants to get in touch with Barbara through Children Matter, please do. And if anybody fancies taking on a legal case or helping Barbara build one, then yeah, much appreciated. So because
we need to be strong, work together, respect each other, because we do respect each other. I've met are lovely, and I don't understand why I should get this grief just to give these police officers power that they haven't got. Because believe you me, you haven't got any power. Just horrible people who we're paying my taxes to keep you lot in the job, and what for? To take a black woman off the street? I don't think so. You know, it won't happen again. You know, it won't happen again. You know,
no, hopefully not. I hope not. We'll have a protest outside the hospital next time, Barbara, if they do that again. Break free.
It's freedom of speech, everybody, and if they don't like it, and somebody's intelligent and knows what they're talking about, doesn't matter where we come from, we need to stand together. We need to make something of this. We need to make a film about it. And I can take the pictures of the hospital. I'm happy to go and do that. I'll get them off online anyway, and all the councils involved, because you never know these council people. You think they're there to help you, and they're not.
Yeah,
they're definitely not. And that's what we need to get.
Thank you very much, Barbara. And I'm just going to do a plug. Katie-Jayne's got a Christmas raffle at the moment, so there's tickets on sale if anybody would like to purchase some tickets. Katie, I don't know if you want to say a little bit about that. Oh, there you go.
I've got them.
There's the information.
Yeah, I'll buy some.
Well, we're doing 2 different raffles. So we're doing one for Boxing Day, which is for kids stuff, so you can get your kids involved, or you can win something for your kids with the Children's Boxing Day raffle. We've got 10 prizes up for grabs. Obviously, if anyone wants to donate to him, they're more than welcome to. And then we've got the New Year's raffle as well. So we've got 3 first prizes, 14 prizes up on the board. We've had a family boat trip donated and a painting as well that's being donated as well. So there are more prizes to come, which are going to be, sort of revealed on the day. So if you do want to get involved, it's £1 a ticket, and you can email us at support@childrenmatter.news, and I'll leave you 2 back with it. Sorry, guys.
Okay,
that's all right. We're just wrapping up anyway, Katie-Jayne. So
brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope everything I can help out there with anybody that needs help. I will.
Yeah. Okay, Barbara. Well, you take care of yourself, and we'll speak very soon.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care now. Bye. Bye, Katie.
The reason I breathe.